Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the garage. So tonight we kind of start our disassembly of the race truck. So as you guys know, we've kind of missed the racing season completely. Our cage work definitely took me way longer than I ever anticipated. I'm happy with the results, except for one thing in particular, and that's where we're starting tonight. So if you guys look, our rear window, our Lexan window that we did, our polycarbonate window, very happy with how that turned out. It's tight against the bars. The fitment is great, but the problem is that bar is about 3.5 inches below the top, and this one is about 2.5 inches below the top. So when I put these bars in, somehow I screwed up, and this bar is higher than that one. You guys might be thinking, oh, it's just an inch, what's the big deal? But if you look at the truck from the back, and I don't know how well the camera kind of shows, I guess right there you can see it, it just looks goofy. And yeah, we can't have that. We're at least gonna try and fix it. We'll do our best. I'm really hoping we can just move one bar, whether we move that one up or move this one down, kind of change our cuts, which means we'll probably need a new bar. I don't know. Honestly, you couldn't tell until you put the window in that they were different. You just couldn't tell at all. So anyhow, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by removing our Lexan window and go from there. So we'll see what we gotta do, and we'll cut whatever bar we got to out and figure out what we can do to make this work and make it right. So since we have this winter to do this kind of stuff, we're gonna do it. Had we had the truck together, I wasn't gonna worry about it for this year. Obviously, it's not that big a deal. It will function, or it would have functioned exactly how it should have. It's just, man, it looks bad, and can't have that. Not that we're all about looks on the truck, but yeah, I'm kind of proud of the cage and the cage work, but I'm not proud of that part. So anyway, we're gonna get started on that and move on from there and just kind of roll and kind of get things disassembled we need to start kind of moving things around on the truck. Well, that looks a whole lot better. So got the rear plexiglass out, or our rear Lexan polycarbonate. Just drilled out all the rivets. Honestly, it didn't go as smoothly as I had hoped, because with the polycarbonate being so soft, they would just start to spin, most of them. So normally your pop rivets, you can just drill right through and separate the head from the shaft, if you will, and all that. So I kind of mocked up our bar after I cut it out to where it'll be. Everything will look good. Obviously, now we're going to need another bar. I decided to do this one on the passenger side because it was off, and also I like the tight fitment over here on the driver's side. It's nice and tight to the cab. So we're gonna have to get another piece of 1 5/8 083 wall chromoly. It's been a little while since we did cage work, so kind of forget all the thicknesses. But yeah, that'll look good, getting that up in there right. And then we can redo our rear window and we'll be sitting pretty. But yeah, that certainly looks a lot better than having one side 1 inch lower than the other. So moving on, I have our fuel cell continuing to drain, trying to kind of get all the fuel out of there before we make a big mess, because there's no real good way to shut it off or kind of drain it without making a mess. But also, we can get rid of our stock radiator and fan. Basically, I want to put these remotely in the back, and they'll probably be somewhere over here on the driver's side or passenger side when we're all said and done. And the main reason for that is just get stuff out of the way of the front of the truck, try and kind of move some of the weight to the rear a little bit, since obviously the truck is very light in the rear, even with bed sides on, compared to the front. So kind of get that weight to the back. Also, we don't need this massive factory radiator, so we can get rid of that, but it'll also give us room to work on the truck between that and the intercooler. For right now, we're going to leave the factory, or not factory, this is a Mishimoto intercooler, but in the factory location. Eventually, down the road, I'm not saying this year or anything like that, but eventually we probably will go to a air to water setup. But that's not right now. We will use what we have. It will work. So we'll keep chipping away at getting this stuff off. All the stuff we're going to kind of move and change up over the winter. And like I said, we're not going to do anything major. Nothing that we're doing now is going to be as time consuming as our cage or anything like that. Because we want the truck ready to go in the spring. So we're just going to do all these little jobs, and hopefully we'll have some time to test before race season hits, and hopefully we can hit race season this year. Well, look at all that room for activities we now have. So getting rid of the factory radiator and the fan setup, they were very tight to all the pulleys. It was so tight we couldn't even use the barring tool on our fluid amper. We couldn't use that on on the full power kit here, where you put a socket on here and then you can rotate the engine over, because during my engine diagnosis, I was definitely checking valve lash and stuff like that, but I had to rotate the engine over with the flex plate because I couldn't get my socket on here because our fans were in the way, because these fans were actually originally designed for a 3rd gen truck. We retrofitted it and changed our bracketry around so we could fit it on our 4th gen, which did work very well, but kind of came with that caveat of you really couldn't use the barring tool. And our radiator, it's out. Like I said, we don't need this big whole cooling device because we are no longer cooling the entire engine. We're just cooling the head. So we'll have less fluid. It'll just be less weight overall. Really, the whole thing with having the wet head on this solid block engine is to draw all the heat out. Most of your heat is actually in the head, so that'll help cool things down so we can get runs in quicker. But I wanted to get rid of that and just try and move that weight rearward and also free up some space up here, because if we got to fix something at the track, we want to be able to do it in a timely fashion and have no issues. So we got that all done. That's looking good. Got our bar out, our rear window out. Got a game plan set up for that. I gotta get another 6-foot piece of 1 5/8" 083 wall, and then we can fix that up, TIG weld everything, and we'll be good there. Really spent a lot of time tonight making sure we are cutting the right bar out and going to be able to fix this properly. Now, that being said, as you can see how tight this bar is to this corner, we're probably going to have to try and jack our cab back up to be able to get our TIG torch in there, to be able to weld everything solid. I don't think it'll be an issue. I think everything will be out of the way once we unbolt everything. But yeah, very glad that I bolted the cab to the frame rather than just welding it because of this. Certainly something we didn't expect, but hey, I've never built a cage before, so you're bound to run into some mistakes. Anyway, guys, that being said, like I said, I spent a lot of time trying to make sure we were doing the right thing there and cutting that bar out. I think our overall product will be far superior to what we had, especially, you know, well, looks wise, it's going to be much better. So anyway, guys, we're kind of deconstructing the race truck, but we're just trying to do little things at a time, so that way we're not getting in the same trap we got into last year, where we did this massive cage project and kind of just lost our whole season. So next year, hopefully, we'll be drag racing the truck. We'll be testing and tuning all the time, taking the thing all over the place. The eventual goal is to run the ODSS series. I'm not building the truck for a particular class. I'm building the truck for me, and then we'll see where it falls, whether it be a slow pro street truck or a truck that's too fast for 590. I don't know, but we'll see. And we're going to grow. The truck's going to make, you know, have changes throughout the season. We're just going to keep working on it and kind of piecemealing everything together, so that way we can continue to use the truck, because I'll be honest, I'm not very happy with the fact that we did not get to use the truck at all this year. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Get out in your garage, get the wrenching on your truck.